constantly taking stuff off my bed. Get this over here. Okay, here we go. I was gonna post this video yesterday. I was super excited, had like the little teaser and everything like that, and then my files got corrupted, so I am reshooting it, and for continuity's sake, I'm wearing the same t-shirt. That's the only thing that's the same. I got a haircut and stuff. It's the closest I can get, but I really wanted to post this video because it is important to me. I wanted to share with you guys a marriage hack that my wife and I have been doing for a little bit. We haven't been doing it for very much. It's new to us. It is something that I really feel joy from. I believe that it's shifting our relationship and it's causing us to grow closer. So I feel like that's important to share. So once again, we haven't mastered this trick yet, but we're working on it. So if you hear it anywhere else, they stole it from us. And the term is this: hug the cactus. What does that mean? Well, sometimes when I get upset or I'm not in a good mood, I become a prickly person, okay? And so do other people. So in that process, I think myself and others have the tendency to lash out on the people that are the closest to us. And that's not fair to them. And so I found out that like my wife and I, we both do this. When we are not in a good mood, when we are not in a good headspace, we become prickly people. And so it's just funny because like I'll see her like grumpy, and then like I'm like, man, what's wrong with her? And so I'll get grumpy about her grumpiness, and then it's just we both end up being grumpy. And on the flip side of that, like if I come home from work with a bad attitude, maybe because of just, I don't know, I drive in I-4 traffic every single day in a Jeep with no AC, or if it was just a hard or heavy day, I have a bad tendency of letting that spill over when I come home. And so when I walk through the door and she sees me with a stank face, she's like, oh, it's gonna be one of those kind of nights. You know, she'll get upset about me being upset. I think it's because she might think it's geared towards her, but it's not. And we make these assumptions. We assume that our spouse is thinking negatively about us or home or whatever, and we end up poking each other. It's like a cactus and a porcupine. We become hurtful to one another because hurt people hurt people. And so we go through these days where we just continually kind of poke at each other because we haven't resolved an issue. And by the end of the week, we're laying in bed like, why do you hate me? And it's always for something dumb. It's like, I don't like the way you looked at me that day or how you came home. And for me, it's like, well, you said something really mean and hurt my feelings. That's it. But we kept on finding ourselves going through these cycles, and we're like, man, how can we get out of this? Because it's real difficult to love someone who's being difficult. And let that sink in, because sometimes that's you. Now that's me being the difficult person. It's hard to love on us or on other people when we're being difficult. You see, that is a sign, at least in our household, that is a sign. When someone's being difficult, when someone's being a cactus, it is a sign that they need love. So I think it's really important to know your spouses and your kids and family and friends, their body language. And when they are not being themselves, they're being a little prickly towards you, they might just need a hug. My wife and I started doing this thing, and hopefully I can get some footage of it. When I come home from work, she lets me collapse on her. I know that sounds funny. It is something that I just really need and I enjoy, but I literally put my head on her shoulder and just let my body weight go. And we do this thing where she'll say, all right, let it go, because me, I don't want to put my entire body weight on her, but she's like, no, you gotta let your whole entire day go. And so I do, and it's just, I'm just like dead weight, and it's beautiful, and I'll let her do the same thing to me, and it's like sharing each other's burdens and being able to take the weight off the other person. And so we started combining these two things. When we see that someone is being a cactus, when they're being prickly, when their attitudes are hurtful, it's like, hey, let me go love on them, because that's not their character. That is not who they are. And so when I'm being mean or my wife is being mean, instead of getting offended or getting on the offensive, I need to really think, hey, why isn't she not being herself? Why isn't she not loving? And it's probably because her cup's not full. I need to go hug that cactus. And sometimes it's just a simple, hey, I see you're not being you. Let me love on you. And we have a rule. If someone says, I'm going to hug the cactus, you got to let it happen. If it's a real genuine moment of frustration or a real genuine moment of just like watching your spouse just not be themselves, stop in that moment and say, I'm going to hug this cactus. It breaks the blinders off, and it makes me become aware of the situation and how I am responding and why I'm responding the way I'm responding. And it's cool that my wife can help me get there. I think the greatest example of this, of hugging a cactus, is what Jesus did for us. To a world that hated him, that mocked him, world that he gave his life for, was pretty prickly towards him and still is today. And yet, for the joy set before him, Jesus endured the cross. He did it. He hugged the cactus. So far be it from me to not hug my wife when she's not being kind to me. How dare I withhold that gift of knowing that you're loved? I just want to share my life and what the Lord's teaching me and what life is teaching me. Being a dad is teaching me. I'm learning so much. And I know some people are going to watch this and not like what I have to say, and that's okay. I still love you. It's not about being right. It's about living this life to the fullest and seizing every day and realizing that we have them numbered. I have found a God who helps me do that well. So go out there, hug a cactus. If it's your wife, if it's your husband, if it's your kids, when someone's being prickly, they need help. And so go love on them. I'll talk to you guys soon.